Greetings to the parents, teachers, relatives, and Seaton Grads of 2015 in attendance today.
5 years ago, we stepped into this school as awkward, unstylish, pimple-faced boys and girls. But we leave tonight as educated young men and women.
We're slightly yes, less awkward and unstylish. First and foremost, we would like to extend our utmost thanks to all of the supportive people present here. I would like to thank my family and friends and girlfriend for all that they have done for me. I know that I may not be standing here today if it wasn't for them. Through good times and bad, they've always been there for me, and I'll always be thankful for that. I would also like to thank all of my teachers, especially Mr. Challen for teaching me that I can do whatever I get into my mind, Mr. Dolman for teaching me the value of hard work, and Mrs. Dulcetti for teaching me that English can be more than just a boring class full of essays and terrible stories. I'd also like to thank Mrs. Erickson for all that she has done for me in my school schedules and in helping me obtain scholarships. Her hard work has really helped put me where I am today academically, so thank you, Mrs. Erickson, for your organization. My coworkers are also people that I need to thank for making my job worth going to. I probably wouldn't have stuck with many of my jobs if it wasn't for the people I worked with. Finally, and I know he couldn't be in attendance tonight, but I would like to thank my piano teacher, Arnie, who is like a second father to me, after everything he has done and how far we have advanced together as individuals in the time we've known each other. He's always pushed me to be amazing, from the first day I sat down at the piano with him, even when things got really taxing both emotionally and mentally on both of us. Thank you, Arnie, for always inspiring me and being there for me. Last but certainly not least, I would like to thank anyone I may have missed to help me get where I am. There have been so many people who have shaped who I am over the years that it would be impossible to thank them all, but thank you nonetheless. You have taught me things that I will carry with me forever.
I would first of all like to say a special thanks to my parents, Maria and Mark Foster, for their continual support in everything I do. They have worked tremendously hard to get me where I am today, and I would not have been able to do it without them. A thank you to my brothers for never giving up on annoying me every second they got, just like any good brother would do. To all my friends, you know who you are. I don't think I would have gotten through high school without you guys. You have been like a group of sisters to me, and I am going to remember all of the memories we made. There are a few teachers who I would like to thank. Miss Mace for getting me started with the drama program. You introduced me to the theater world, and I will be forever grateful. Mr. Britton, you have taught me so many life skills and leadership skills that will stick with me for the rest of my life. Thank you for the amazing leadership experience. Mrs. O'Brien, thank you for being an inspiration. I found one of my passions within 27th Street Theater, and it is all because you created such a wonderful theater environment and experience. A quick thank you to the ladies in the office, Mrs. Kersey and Ms. Yurkowski, for always answering my many questions. The school would certainly not function without you. And to all the teachers I've had at Seaton, thank you for making my high school journey absolutely incredible.
For those of you who have never set foot into our lovely school, we invite you now to take an adventure with us down the halls of WL Seaton Seminary as we observe the many students and staff that characterize our school. First of all, good luck finding a parking spot. Between the teachers and students, you're lucky to find a space big enough for your car, especially if it's grad prank day. Grads, if you haven't picked up your N for Mrs. Kersey, I shall be available after the show.
But assuming parking went all right and you dodged all the crazy student drivers, Olivia, Aaron, and Vince, we now invite you to step through the main doors and into our hallowed hallways. Give a wave to Ms. Kersey and Ms. Yurkowski and our fabulous secretaries in the office. Like I said before, our school wouldn't run nearly as smoothly without them. If you're lucky, you may even be able to get a quick glimpse of the wild Mrs. Erickson in her natural habitat, the counselor's office, before she rushes off to another prior commitment. Seriously, good luck getting in to see her, especially if it's getting close to the end of the year.
Don't be intimidated by the commons as you step into it. The seniors don't bite, usually. They're just on their spares, or skipping. Depends on which day it is. Just don't linger too long or they might try and hit you up for some money. Let's head down the hallway to the right into the home ec part of the school. If you're lucky, some pleasant scents will walk down the hallway to tantalize your nostrils. If you're unlucky, then the pizza is burning and someone really needs to take it out of the oven.
Making a left turn at the end of the hall, you'll reach the science section of our school. Looking into Mr. Yaps' class, you'll probably see a lot of kids, but no teacher. Don't worry, just head on down to Mr. Britton's class, and he's probably in there. Just don't get too close to Mr. Britton's desk. We're pretty sure something's growing in that disorganized mess. Across the hall, you'll see Mr. Cragen playing with his cockroaches or a pigeon, maybe even teaching occasionally.
The next room over has Mr. Howard, giving one of his lectures. Over in the corner, you'll probably spot Vincent Lee sleeping, as usual. Don't stick around. Howard might make you take one of his tests, or, God forbid, do a formal lab report. Best to continue upstairs. If you're lucky, you might glimpse the one-eyed, seven-fingered mystery monster down the hall. But otherwise, it's best to ignore the sounds of sawing and screaming coming from the shop classes.
Just head on up to the upstairs hallway. Peeking into one of the labs will give you a glimpse of a number of students, either sleeping or doing something completely irrelevant to Mr. Lieberman's lesson on their computers, as Mr. Lieberman tries to fix some poor teacher's computer. Let's head one door down to Mr. Cranenberg's room. His mustache and teaching methods are legendary. Stick around and you might actually start to enjoy history class. History movie night is next Tuesday, by the way.
A little further down on the right is Mrs. Dulcetti's classroom. Everybody loves Dulcetti for her charming wit and hilarious accents. She's also the best-dressed teacher in school. Be sure to tell her what a lovely woman she is on your way out, because soon she'll retire. Truly, she will be a loss to W.L. Seaton's English department. Next up is Miss Sharp's class. If you're an academically proficient student, she'll love you. If you aren't, well, as long as you can make her laugh, she'll love you even more. Oh look, she isn't in right now. Instead, it's a student-teacher taking attendance. If Levon Bilodeau's in the class, you'll probably hear him correcting the teacher for the millionth time about how to pronounce his name. It's Levon. And then there's Mr. Dorval. Don't worry, we're pretty sure he's not a serial killer. He just enjoys standing outside his door, smiling at people and yelling at them to get to class. Just hope you don't get stuck in Mrs. Tucker's class. If I do another one of those practice tests, I'm probably going to keel over and die. Just observe her making a kid sing "I'm a Little Teapot" for showing up late once again, and then move on down the hall.
Those big glass doors lead to the library, where Miss Mawhinney is probably chewing out another kid for not returning their book on time. Either that or someone is playing video games in the library again. Oh look! Vincent Lee must have actually woken up just long enough to move to the library. If you look over in the corner, you'll see him catching up on some more sleep. Just to let everyone know, Miss Mawhinney and Mr. Koklov are married. They just have different last names.
Farther down, we encounter the French immersion department. If you were in French immersion, you'll probably recognize some of the jabber emanating from the rooms. If you weren't, then none of it will make sense. Just keep moving before one of the French immersion kids rants to you about their concours or their song tests or Madame Pico. Uh-oh. He's back. Quick, turn around and head the other way. It's Mr. Pryor, back to haunt the school. Didn't he retire like forever ago? Never mind, just dash down those main stairs before he decides to give another lecture about respect. Take a quick left and then right.
Phew, we made it. We're in the weight room now. From here, you can look down upon the gym classes begrudgingly doing their 12-minute run or the beep test. You can probably see Mr. Stevens off to the side, holding his clipboard and looking at the students through the glasses falling off his nose. No one really knows what he's writing on that clipboard. Mr. Kozak doesn't seem to be in the gym at the moment. He's probably off who knows where with the Peak kids. Whitewater rafting, camping, canoeing, hiking. They do pretty much everything.
Let's head down through the gym before Mr. Reed makes us join his strength and conditioning class. Don't be alarmed if you hear the sound of yelling coming from down the halls. That's just Mr. Dolman teaching band class.
If you head straight through the commons to the two big wood doors, you can probably hear Noah Angel's music blasting, confusing anyone who happens to be trying to do their homework in the commons. Open these doors and you enter the magical world of the theater, where the crazy drama students have made their homes. If you aren't used to this environment, I suggest just joining in. Once you enter, you may never leave. The fast-paced, brown-haired, fantastic woman running around would be the lovely Mrs. O'Brien. She's one of the hardest-working women I have ever had the pleasure of meeting. So get to know her, because your life is sure to change once you do. It can become a little chaotic in the theater, so let's sneak out the back door and head down the stairs.
On the left, you'll find the art room, where creativity flourishes every day under the watchful eye of the extraordinary Mr. Challen. Think you're no artist? Think again. Mr. Challen will always push you and inspire you to create masterpieces you never thought were possible. Once you're done admiring the beautiful artwork, you can move down the hall until you reach Mr. Johannessen's room. We'd peek inside if we could, but it looks like we're late to his class. You can tell by all the students standing outside that it'll probably be a little while before he decides to open up his door again.
No worries, just head onwards to Mr. Ohashi's room, where you can enjoy a buffet of chocolate, candy, cake, pie, or donuts. Depends on what Mr. Ohashi's in the mood for today. Feel free to sit and eat and watch Mr. Ohashi constantly make jokes at Vincent Lee or Marley DeVore's expense. Throw in some air horn courtesy of Parker Friesen, and you'll be getting the full Calculus 12 experience. Further down the hall, you won't even have to look into the rooms to know what's going on. You can always hear Mr. Kadash and Mrs. McTavish before you see them. You may as well take a look anyways, though, to see who Mr. Kadash is beating at chess this time.
This is the place that helped shape us for the last 5 years. These rooms were our homes for 5 days a week, 10 months of the year. These people shaped who we are and inspired us to be all that we could be. They have given us lessons to take with us for the rest of our lives, no matter what path we make this week.
As we take our next steps into the world, let us never forget what happened within these halls. In the great words of Elle Wood from Legally Blonde, it is with passion, courage of conviction, and a strong sense of self that we take our next steps into the world, remembering that first impressions are not always correct. You must always have faith in people, and most importantly, you must always have faith in yourself. Thank you, and congratulations to the WL Seaton Grads of 2015.